पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita Sarartha Varshini Tika and the Rasik Ranjan commentary, which is a sub-commentary to the Sarartha Varshini. So yesterday we finished 9.23, 24, 25 and 26. The essence is, how is it that the Pratikopasakas who worship through Jnana Yagya, Jnana Yagena Chapanne, Yajanto Mam Upasate, seeing the demigods as a manifestation of the Lord. Now, in that, the subtle difference, I hope you were able to catch yesterday, you know, those who see that the Surya is ultimately a manifestation of Vishnu, for them, slowly they will gradually attain liberation. Something is wrong with my mouse pad. It's not working. Yeah, it's working now. Whereas, but those who, don't think like that, and they think that the demigods are independent of the Lord and they independently give the fruits. So, although they, yepi anya devata bhaktya, they are, you know, the devotees of the demigods, but indirectly they are devotees of Krishna, because demigods are also vibhuti of Krishna. But because they worship avidhi purvakam, that is why they get these temporary results. So the right conception of worship is so important. And what is that knowledge they don't understand? That aham is sarva yajnanam, and I am the bhokta, Prabhu. Because they don't know, understand this, na mam abhijananti tattva anant tattva tan no, tattva anantascha. It's not ananta actually. One second. Uh, tatvena it is, sorry. Tatvena ata has become atashchavanti because of the sandhi. So tatvena, they don't know in truth his the Lord Swarupa. So that's why chavanti, they fall down. And this is the famous verse we know, that Yanti Dev Vratan. And then comparing this to pure devotion, so simple, but the quality is one has to be a pure devotee, and we saw that yesterday. Now, Krishna speaks of another kind of a Pradhani Bhakti who is not on this level where he worships the Lord out of pure devotion. That is spoken in this verse. This is very important for us, and we have to understand this very carefully. So please try to hear and understand this. यत् करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुषि ददासि यत् तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत् कुरुस्व मदर्पणम्. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, yat karoshi yadashnashi, whatever you sacrifice, whatever you give, yat joshi dadasi yat, whatever austerity you perform, yat tapasyasi, offer it to me, tat kurusva madarpanam, O son of Kunti, Kaunteya. Among all types of bhakti, you have mentioned, starting with mention of the bhakti of the sufferer, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and jnani, which bhakti should I perform? So, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, Krishna spoke that in the 7th chapter, 15th verse. So you have spoken about all these different types of bhakti. Of course, here Vishwanath Chakravarti is quoting only one, but Krishna has spoken also many other types. And we saw that yesterday, the different types of bhakti Krishna has spoken. The moksha kami, jara marana mokshaya, he is the desire of moksha. And then the pradhani bhuta bhakti. And the pradhani bhuta bhakti also was spoken in the, oh Krishna, whatever. Pradhani bhuta bhakti was also spoken. And then the yoga mishra was spoken, and then these three types, jnana, yajna, chapana. Among all these, which I should practice? Oh Arjuna, because you cannot reject karma, jnana, and other processes in your present state. You cannot reject karma and jnana, and you are not qualified for the supreme bhakti, kevala bhakti, and because you should not degrade yourself to perform inferior sakama bhakti. So these are sakama bhakti. You should perform bhakti with a slight mixture of karma jnana. So this is karma jnana mishra pradhani bhuta bhakti, but which is nishkam. So within this karma jnana mishra pradhani bhuta bhakti, there can be sakam or nishkam. So here it is nishkam you have to perform. So right now, in the flow of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying you are not qualified for Kevala Bhakti, but in the end, 18.66, Krishna will mention that, that he will speak about Ananya Bhakti. And now I'll give you that adhikar qualification. So the qualification to practice Shuddha Bhakti is it can happen by the mercy of the pure devotee or the mercy of the Lord. But ultimately, one should also become free from all these contaminations of karma and jnana. Note, this is predominantly bhakti with some mixture of other elements. Okay. It is similar to karma yoga because activities are performed, but it is superior to karma yoga and nishkam karma yoga because all activities, even beyond prescribed duties, are offered to the Lord without desire. So, in karma yoga, only the duties which are mentioned in the Shastra they offered, but here all everything is offered to the Lord and it is without desire. And bhakti is pradhan here. But here karma is pradhan. That's also another difference. It is similar to Jnana Mishra Bhakti because the person has knowledge of Atma and Paramatma. But it is superior to Jnana Mishra Bhakti because it has abundance of appreciation of the personal features of the Lord. So there is a lot of knowledge about how Krishna is Bhagavan and all that. But because the consciousness is not always fixed on the Lord, the activities are offered after performance rather than before. Thus, it cannot be classed as Ananya Bhakti. So, this is a very, very important point. And devotees should really understand this very, very carefully. It is not classed as Ananya Bhakti. Now, Krishna explains this in two verses. That this is a footnote that uh, you should perform this kind of bhakti, which is karma jnana mishra pradhani bhut bhakti, but it should be nishkam. And this was a footnote, but it is not classed as ananya bhakti. Now, Arjuna has a question, maybe. Krishna has explained two verses. This is 27 and 28. Whatever you do, yad karoshi, whatever, whether you follow whether following the rules of Veda or whether performing worldly action. So yat karoshi means, all your duties plus any action, worldly action. Yad ashnasi, whatever you eat or drink in ordinary life, whatever austerities perform, yat tapasyasi, do it in such a way that it becomes an offering to tat kurusva madarpanam. One should call this neither nishkam karma yoga nor bhakti yoga. This is neither nishkam karma yoga nor it is bhakti yoga. The practitioners of Karma Yoga offer actions prescribed in the sixth law, but not all the actions they do in ordinary life. So in ordinary life, they don't offer those actions. So that's why it cannot be classed as Karma Yoga. This view is accepted by everyone. The devotees, however, offer to the Lord all the actions of their body, mind, pranas, and senses. The method of bhakti is stated. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वानुसृतः स्वभावात् करोति यद् 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 यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणेति समर्पयेत्तम्. In accordance with the particular nature one has acquired in conditioned life, Whatever one does with body, mind, words, senses, intelligence, or purified consciousness, one should offer the supreme thinking. This is for the pleasure of Lord Narayan. Narayana eti samarpayet tam. So this is spoken in the Bhagavatam. Now this is like a conversation happening, and Arjuna is asking this question. Yeah. What is it? But when you mention that I should offer in sacrifice, that sacrifice is derived from Archana, which is an Anga of Bhakti aiming at the pleasure of Vishnu. And when you mention austerities, tapasasi, it means vows such as Ekadasi fast. This is all Ananya Bhakti. How many of us feel like this? Raise your hands. This argument what Arjuna is giving, how many of us feel what Arjuna is saying, makes sense? How many of us feel? Raise your hands. You see, whatever actions we are doing, it's yagya only in one sense. But when you mention that I should offer in sacrifice, that sacrifice is derived from Arjuna, which is an anga of bhakti, aimed at the pleasure of Vishnu. And when you mention austerity, tapasya, it means doing Ekadasi fast and all. This is also all Ananya Bhakti. So how many of us feel? How many of us feel that this argument is true? Raise your hands. Why? What happened? Nobody is responding. Are you all with me here or no? Yes, Parashakti Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Tanva
what are your
Prabhuji.
thoughts?
Yes, Prabhuji, we feel it.
You feel then it should be Ananya Bhakti, right? Right? Yeah. Okay, Navneet Kalra Mataji, what are your thoughts?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat. I'm not sure, Prabhuji.
Sure, okay, that's very sincere answer, I can say. Okay, Bir Krish Prabhuji, what are your thoughts?
Uh, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, it cannot be said Ananya Bhakti because uh, here it is action is done, then it is being offered. Whereas in Ananya case, before uh, before starting the action only it is offered.
You have read it, I think, the purport, right?
I had read earlier, Prabhu.
Yeah. So very clear understanding, very nice, very wonderful. So there is a lot of subtle difference which Krishna brings out now, where Krishna Chakata approach. How can he say that is not? Now Krishna is saying true, but Ananya Bhakti does not mean that you perform an action and then offer it to the Lord. Rather, in Ananya Bhakti, the action is done after first offering it to the Lord. This is mentioned by Prahlad when he says, Iti pumsarpita Vishnu bhaktischan navalakshana kriyate bhagavatya. This bhakti of 9 types after being offered to the Lord should then be performed for the Lord. Sridhar Swami has explained this Bhagavatam verse. In Ananya Bhakti, actions first being offered to the Lord should be performed rather than performing the acts and then offering them later. Thus, the present verse is not included in Keval Bhakti since the acts are performed and then offered. Note, nor is it considered Nishkam Karmika because all acts are offered, not just prescribed duties. So, a lot of subtle shades of Bhakti you can see. And I will give you just one example. And please try to understand this example. And generally, when the example is given, if it is demonstrated through a live example, it is much clearer. So, who will volunteer for the example? Raise your hand. Let me see who would volunteer. And let us see. Then I will explain the example. So, who will volunteer? You can raise your hands. Who would like to volunteer? Shri Lalita Sumki Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Sri Lalita Mataji, tell me, what is your favorite food item you like?
Uh, I like I like milk, Prabhu.
Okay. So we will not take exactly milk. We'll take maybe sweet rice. You like sweet rice. So when you like sweet rice, you get milk, you get rice, sugar, dry fruits, and you prepare all the items.
Yeah.
And after preparing, you offer it and then
Yeah.
you have it.
Yeah.
Is it pure devotion? You have to tell me.
No, Prabhu.
Why?
Because I'm preparing what I like.
Ah, okay, you're all become pure devotees then now. Now, it is karma because the desire has born from my own svabhava. It is not the desire to please the Lord. You can understand the subtle difference here?
Yes, Prabhu.
Whereas you know that Mahaprabhu likes what? What Mahaprabhu likes, Sri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji?
You like shark?
Yes,
I don't know, Prabhu.
Mahaprabhu likes shark. Shark kari aswadane. Now he likes shark, so
Mm.
you out of love that
Mm.
Mahaprabhu will be pleased if I cook for him shark, you go and purchase shark. You nicely soak it in the water in, and then nicely wash it and then softly, little steam it so that it is soft and then nicely cut it and then add the particular spicings which Mahaprabhu likes, the natural spicings, and then you cook everything and very meticulously you cook, so that it is exactly well cooked. And then with rice, and then a little ghee and all these finer aspects you take care and then you offer it to Mahaprabhu, Gaur-Nitai deities. Is it Ananya
Yes.
Bhakti?
Yes, Prabhu.
Why?
Because we are doing it for the pleasure of the Lord, what He likes. We're trying to gratify His senses.
Any other
And
reason?
and we are doing it with full, all our activities are centered around how do I do it perfectly to please the Lord.
Hmm. It is done it is done out of
Pleasure of the
love
Lord.
for the Lord.
Yeah.
Prabhupada's statement you should remember in that 9.26 which we read yesterday. The act of cutting, the act of cooking, the act of preparation, everything is done with an attitude of love, Prabhupada writes, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
So that is for Krishna Priti Vancha, Dhare Premana.
Yeah.
But this we had done for Atma, Indriya Priti,
Yes.
our own Priti. So I like pasta, I buy the ingredients and cook, and then I don't forget to offer it to the Lord, and then I have it.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of subtle difference between these two things. So again, this is a vast, you know, we can have an entire class on this, but it is suffice to tell here when Krishna says in the Padma Puran or which Puran, I don't know. I think it is Padma. Smartavya satatam Vishnu, vismartavya na jatu chit. Sarve nidhi विषेद एतयोर एव किंकर सर्वे विधि निषेधेस निषेधाय व्हाट इज इट स्मर्तव्य सततम विष्णु विस्मर्तव्य न जातु च सर्वे विधि निषेधासुर एते एतयोर एव किंकर सो स्मर्तव्य सततम विष्णु मीन्स इट इज निष्काम भक्ति और अनन्य भक्ति but Vispartavya na jatu chit is, Sakama Bhakti or mixed devotion. I'll explain how. That you do all these acts of making pasta, but you don't forget to offer it to Krishna. You know? So that's how, that's the subtle difference. Like Smartavya Satatam Vishnu means, you chant the holy names so that you don't forget Krishna. But the rules and regulations you follow, like no meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, because that will make us forgetful of Krishna. So, for doing for the pleasure of Krishna, preparing shak is smartavya satatam Vishnu. But you don't forget to offer pasta when you cook, that is Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti. Pradhani Karma Jnana, Pradhani, Karma Jnana, Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti. Because you have knowledge about the Lord also. So like that. So generally, this is our understanding, and there's a lot of reference to it. We generally follow, we should be on the standard of this Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, especially this standard, which is mentioned, Karma Jnana, Pradhani Bhuta Mishra Bhakti, And from here, we have to come to this platform of Ananya or Kevala Bhakti, which is a very, very exalted platform. You have to understand. It's not it looks simple, but it is a very exalted platform. Oh Arjuna, now ascertain your own qualification. So we should also ascertain our own qualification, whether we come exactly in this category. You are engaged in assisting me in my pastimes, having descended with me as a righteous hero. Therefore, you can neither be counted among neutral devotees in Shantras, nor the selfish Sakam Bhaktas who perform acts of devotion for material gain. Because he has come to assist in his pastimes, so it's not, he is not in Shantras, because his actions are there. Actions are done out of love means there is, at least it begins with Dasya. And he cannot be selfish Sakam Bhakta also, who do for material gain. You will only perform that particular bhakti that is mixed with selfless action, nishkam karma, and real knowledge jnana. It is therefore your duty to offer me whatever austerities and other activities you perform. The conception of the materialist is to perform an act with material desires and then offer the activity to me simply as a remnant. Now, I don't know whether I stated that I had a very, like kind of a friend in Govardhan who was a pujari of Mansi Ganga temple, Yogamaya, and we were quite good friends. And I used to go and sit and chant there. And he also used to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But his conception of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is that he identifies himself as a pujari and a brahmana. And I do this chanting, and then I offer this to Krishna. So now here you have to understand that although he is doing the chanting, which is the very act itself is coming in Navida Bhakti, but his conception is that I have to offer this Arpanam. So even in the conception, if you have some misconceptions, then there is Gyan Avaran happening. Then also the Bhakti is mixed. So that is my point I wanted to state. So they just as a remnant, simply as a remnant. This conception is empty and useless. You should offer the action in the right way at its inception and thus perform bhakti. Okay, now the next verse speaks about the result of this kind of bhakti. Shubha Shubha Phale Revam Mokshasi Karma Bandhane Sannyas Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upayashyasi. So this is the result of this previous verse, it is mentioned. By this process of bhakti mixed with nishkam karma and gyan, evam, you will be free, moksha say, from the bondage of karma, karma bandhane, with its pious and sinful reaction. Shubha, ashubha phala, being engaged in renunciation of results. Sannyasa yoga yuktatma, being specially liberated, vimukta. Mukta means liberated, vishesha rupena mukta. You will attain me and serve me intimately. Mam upayashyasi. You will be liberated from bondage of karma in the form of unlimited sinful and pious reactions. The Shruti says, Bhakti rasya bhajanam tad iha mutrupadi nairasye namushamiz mana kalpanam etad eva naishkarmyam. Bhakti is the worship of the Lord, concentrating the mind on Him, renouncing all material desires for enjoyment of in this world and the next. It destroys all karmas. Gopal Tapani Upanishads. I don't know why this has to be done in red. It's not required. Otherwise, you with mind engaged in renunciation of the results of action. Sannyas Yoga. Krishna had spoken about Sannyas Yoga. Which chapter, which verse Krishna spoke about Sannyas Yoga? Anyone remembers? Let's see, raise your hands. Sannyas and Yoga Krishna. This exact one. Tukaram Mishkin Prabhuji, yes. Yes, Prabhuji, I've unmuted it.
Sorry, Prabhu. By mistake, I pressed. I really don't know.
Okay. I think you're the most senior devotee here, and I've been seeing you're quite consistent in your attending of the classes also. So we expect you to answer now because you by mistake you at least give us a hint which chapter it is. Okay, Parashakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna then. Is it 5.2?
Karma Sannyasa it is mentioned. Actually, it is 4.41. Yoga Sannyasta Karmanam Jnana Sanchina Samshaya Atmavantana Karmani Nibadhanti Dhananjay. Yoga Sannyasta. That is, renunciation of fruits. Renunciation of the fruits of action. Karmanam. Karmanam here means not action, fruits of action. By yoga. Yoga Prabhupada directly takes, this is Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, but he takes Bhakti Yoga by devotional service. So Bhakti Yoga now here, again it is Pradhani Bhuta. Prabhupada is directly referring to Bhakti Yoga. He's not going to the subtle differences, but as we study 8-10 years and study Bhagavad Gita, we should know. What will happen? You will become Vimukta. You will not only be liberated, but being preeminent among the liberated souls. Vimukta will attain me. You will come close to me and serve me directly. Smriti says, Muktanam api sitanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma kotishapi mahamuni. Sukhdev says, Muktim dadati karishchit smana bhakti yogam. Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily, but he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him. So direct service to the Lord. But again, you have to understand here it can be in Vaikuntha, but not in Braj, because Braj Ras or Bhakti, Kevala Bhakti only can take us to Vrindavan, not even the Pradhani Bhut mixture. This achievement with direct service to me is far superior to liberation. This is indicated in the verse. Note, those who perform bhakti attain more than liberation, which is reserved for jnanis and yogis. This bhakti is superior to sakama bhakti and nishkama jnana mishra bhakti, which yield salokya and shantras. So this leads to shalokya and shantras respectively. So the nishkama jnana mishra bhakti leads to salokya, sakama leads to shantras. It yields direct service to the Lord. So here it leads to direct service of the Lord. So that is why this is superior. And now it seems like the Lord is very partial, and that's why the Lord speaks this verse. Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshosti na priya ye bhajante tu mam bhaktya mayi te teshu chapyaham. I am equal to all living beings. Samo aham sarva bhuteshu. I do not hate anyone, nor do I favor anyone. Na me dvesho asti na priya. To whatever extent a person worships me with devotion, ye bhajante tu mam bhaktya, I am attached to them in a similar way. Mayi te teshu chapya aham. So here the first two lines, Krishna is as the Paramatma neutral, samoham sarva bhuteshu. But here is Bhagwan. And Bhagwan being a person, he needs to reciprocate. If somebody out of attachment with devotion worships the Lord also reciprocates with that worship. Ye bhajante tu mam bhaktya. Mayi teshu tyacho. And this follows the principle of ye yata mam prapadyante. So once Prabhupada was asked by his disciples that Prabhupada, among all your disciples, whom do you like most? He said, all my disciples are very dear to me. But those who come forward to take some service, especially risk of preaching, I reciprocate with them like that. So that's why Prabhupada, who would like to go to Japan for preaching, and Sudama Prabhu or Subal Maharaj, I think. Sudama Maharaj, I think it is. He, volunteered, and Prabhupada said, I will personally come to take you back to Godhead. Prabhupada promised that. So I personally reciprocate. I'm equal to all my disciples, but I personally reciprocate with those who come forward like that. So ye bhajante tu mam bhaktya. You liberate the devotees and then you give yourself to your devotees, but not to the non-devotees. But then, do you not show prejudice arising from attraction and repulsion? The Lord refutes this in this verse. He is refuting this. I'm equal to all. I neither hate or favor anyone. The Lord then says, but the devotees who worship me with devotion exist in me, and I exist also in them. There is nothing special in this statement. There's nothing special. Why? Because everything is existing in the Lord only. Okay, I'll take this. There's nothing special in this statement. Since the whole universe exists within the Lord and the Lord exists everywhere in the universe. Thus, the statement should actually mean, as those who worship me with devotion are attached to me, te mai, so I am attached to them, aham teshu. This takes into consideration the statement, as they surrender to me, I respond to them. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajami. To compare the Lord to a kalpavriksha which gives to all persons without discrimination is partially correct. It's partially correct. Those who take shelter of that tree do not become attached to it without desire for the fruit. Nor is the kalpavriksha attached to those who take shelter of it. So kalpavriksha, it without discrimination, it fulfills everyone's desire. And the people who take shelter of such kalpavriksha in order to get their fruits, they don't become attached to it. Because once they get the fruit, they take the fruit and go away. And even the kalpavriksha is not attached to those who take shelter of it. Nor does it hate the enemies of those who have taken shelter. But the Lord kills with his own hands the enemies of his devotees. So comparing the Lord with the kalpavriksha, there is some little what? It's partially correct. But the Lord, is a person and he has feelings. So the Lord, with his own hands kills the enemies of his devotees. And the example is of killing Hiranyakashipu. The Lord says to Prahlad, Praharadaya yada dhured dhanishyepi varojitam. I shall kill Hiranyakashipu immediately despite the benedictions of Brahma. Despite the benedictions of Brahma. So this is because the Lord is a person, and person means he has emotions. Some persons explain that the word tu indicates a different intention. I am equal to all, but still I favor my devotee. Thus it means that the Lord has some prejudice classed as affection for the devotee. So he has affection for the devotee. But they explain in the Lord, this is an ornament or enhancement, not a fault. So this is the ornament in his quality. The affection of the Lord for his devotee is well known. He does not have affection for the Jnani or the Yogi. Just as other persons have affection for their own servants and not for the servants of others, the Lord also has affection for his own devotees and not for the devotees of Shiva or Durga. Okay, now up till here, anyone has any questions you would like to take up if you have any questions at this point of the discussion? Veer Krishna Prabhu has. One second, I'm just putting this section. It starts from 29 only. I did not realize that. So there are two questions. Okay. So from 29 to 34 is how Kevala Bhakti elevates, which we have started, verse 29. And the glory of Kevala Bhakti is that it elevates the most fallen. Okay. So let's take up the questions now. Tukaram Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. My question is slightly different, you can say. Association of Shuddha Bhakta, how much we have to take?
How much we have to take?
I mean, for how many days, how many months, how many years? Or is it for a moment?
Actually, to start with bhakti, na, just a moment association is sufficient. But that is enough for you to start with practice of bhakti. And that faith has come, the faith seed is sown in the heart, and with that faith, you start practicing spiritual life. But for your faith to mature and come to the platform of practice of Shuddha Bhakti, we have to regularly associate, regularly hear, and completely surrender. Come to the point of Sarva Dharman Paritejya. Are you getting this
Okay.
point?
Okay, Prabhu, I got it. I mean, it is continuous association.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
As long as
Right.
one has not heard from the Guru for a long period, at least I feel at least 10 years continuously,
Mm.
then your deep faith and attachment to the teachings of the spiritual master, which are according to Guru and Shastra, your deep faith in the Shastras will develop. And then with that faith, when you start practicing bhakti, then you can make progress.
Right.
I hope it's
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
either in today's world, it's very rare because in the traditional times, olden times, even just 100 years back from Mahaprabhu's movement, that is 1500 to the 19th century, or even till the mid 1950s, uh, those who had, natural detachment from this world, they used to leave home and go to Vrindavan and take shelter of a Goswami there and surrender their life and hear and serve meaningly the spiritual master. And by hearing from the spiritual master, then they would develop deep attachment to the spiritual master and deep faith in the Shastras, and they used to have clarify all their doubts, and then they could swiftly make progress. But remember, they were already detached from this world and illusion of this world. But we are still, not able to come out of the detachment nor the illusion of this world. And all that knowledge also we should attain now, so that we come to that point, and then from there, understanding bhakti literatures, deep understanding, all that should happen. So one can hear systematically the teachings of the Acharya, the spiritual master. And always it is recommended that our founder Acharya's teachings are the foundational teachings for every ISKCON devotee. So one should systematically hear Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita lectures, Bhagavatam lectures, Chaitanya Charitamrita lectures, and then one should study Prabhupada's books, and whomever they are inspired by, that spiritual master's lectures, they should regularly hear systematically. Then, there is hope for progress. Is that okay now?
Right, Prabhu. Thank you for the elaborate explanation.
Okay. Yes, who else had raised a hand? Veer Krishna had raised a hand, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhu, this verse, Yat karo sudesnasi jo sudadasya. So this verse and Prabhu, anukulya sankalpa pratikulya varjanam, the symptoms of saranagati. How this transition happen, Prabhu, from this stage to coming to saranagati level, and I hope you are getting my question.
No, I'm not able to get your questions. Can you just speak a little
Like
louder?
Prabhu, yat karo sudesnasi jo sudadasya. It's definitely karma jnana misra bhakti because of tinge of karma and
Yeah,
what you call those elements are there. But
yeah.
when we talk of entering into Suddha Bhakti, then we have to have a symptom of Saradagati, which is defined by Anukulis Sankalpa Pratikulis Varjanam.
Correct.
So, how this transition takes place, Prabhu, from this stage, I mean, Yat Kros Yadasnasi to.
Basically, by the practice of bhakti, when we slowly, gradually realize that, there is no deep satisfaction in the heart, although there is satisfaction for the tongue by eating the pasta. But when that gradual realization will come, and then I should not act for my own pleasure and exclusively act for Krishna's pleasure, it takes time with each jiva, in his journey, based on his previous practices, how and when the realization will happen, whether in a year or a few years or few lifetimes, we don't know. But gradually it happens. So then gradually, he will purify those desires and then gradually move on to the platform of Shuddha Bhakti. Is it clear?
Right, right. And Prabhu, one more question, Prabhu. Prabhu, in this verse 9.28,
Uh-huh.
it
Subhash
says,
Bhatale.
yeah, it says, Sannyas Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mamupaisisi.
Mm.
So, Prabhu, this Mamupaisisi and in 9.34, Krishna says Mame Vaisisi. So,
Nine
both
point?
seems
9 point?
9.34, Mame Vaisisi says, na? Manmana
No,
Manmana Bhavat
9.34 he says,
Mame Vaisisi, he says. And here Krishna says Mamupaisisi. But
Huh.
translation looks like here also he said you will attain me, and there also he said he will one will
You will
come to
come to
me.
me. Yeah, you will come to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but this 9.28 is in reference to Yet Kros Yadasnasi.
Correct.
So there is a thin line difference though,
See,
but how it is.
generally, Krishna is giving the abhidheya. When both the verses, what is the abhidheya and what is the prayojan. So the prayojan element is more spoken here. 9.34, it is the abhidheya and the prayojan given. But here, by this kind of bhakti, Shubha, Ashubha Phaler, Vimukta, you'll become Vimukta from this by practicing this way, and you'll attain me. But I made it very clear that it is not attaining Shyam Sundar Krishna. Are you getting that?
Mhm.
It is not Shyam Sundar Krishna which you will attain. So that we have to
Looks
be
like
very.
looks like maybe Vaikuntha, something like that.
Yeah. So you'll be Vimukta, Vimukta, especially liberated. Prabhupada, see, Prabhupada is also very clear, although he doesn't give the subtle differences in his purport and everything he translates as Bhakti Yoga, because let us first take up to practice of Bhakti Yoga, and after many years, in the Bhakti Vedanta purports, you'll come to know that all these things are there, you know. So Prabhupada in the uh, the liberated only, he says, special liberation, you'll attain. So Prabhupada directly speaks about, how one should practice uh, Shuddha Bhakti only. He brings out that,
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So fine. Is it clear, na? I
All
hope.
right, all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions you have about this? I wanted to finish this chapter today, but looks like it is going to be difficult. We have 15 minutes, and these two verses are one most important verses in the Gita, and 170, 198. So other 18 slides. That will be difficult. But of course, with these two verses, okay, let us see up till 8:30. I'll try to go and see, try to finish. Api chet sudurachara bhajate mamananya bhag sadur eva samantavya samvek vyavastito hi saha. Even if Apichet, the most sinful person, Suduracharo, worships me, Bhajate Mam, with no other desire than to please me, Ananya Bhak, I consider that person to be my devotee. Sadhu Reva Samantavya, as fixed, as he has fixed himself completely. Samvyak Vyavastito Hisa. Now Krishna, in the glory of bhakti, how bhakti is so purifying that it can elevate everyone, even the Sudurachari. And Vishwanath Chakravarti is very liberal in his commentary and is bringing out, the compassionate side of Krishna, and this cannot be taken as a license, and we cannot misuse this verse, you know, uh, because Krishna can understand the intention of the jiva and Krishna is there in the heart. So, Krishna's is glorifying bhakti, the process of bhakti, and how glorious is bhakti. And Krishna is saying, my attachment to my devotee is my very nature. And that attachment does not decrease even if the devotee commits wrong, or I make him come up to the highest standard. If someone with bad conduct, addicted to violence, thievery, or adultery, Sudurachara, worships me and worships no one except me, and does not follow any other process like karma, jnana, and he has no other desire other than my desire, Ananya Bhak, he is my devotee. Sadhu, he is a sadhu. That means he doesn't give up bhakti and take up to karma, jnana, yoga, or ashtanga. You know? But considering his bad conduct, how is he devotee? Arjuna might say. He is to be respected, mantavya, as a devotee because of his devotee qualities. Sadhureva samantavya. This is my mantavya. It is a command. Not doing so is an offense. My order is the authority. My attachment to my devotee is my very nature. Arre, why it has come twice? Somehow, I think some mistake has happened. Yeah. So he should be considered devotee in that portion where he worshipped. Oh, somebody has messed up with this thing here. I don't know. I'll just directly read from the Word file. Please give me a minute, please. Just directly reading from the Word file. I don't know what has happened. While maybe cutting and pasting, something must have gone wrong. Yes. Yeah, 9.30. He is to be respected as a devotee because of his devotee qualities. It is my command, not doing so is an offense. My order is authority. Now Arjuna says, so he should be considered a devotee in that portion where he worships you, and as a non-devotee in that portion where he commits adultery. So Krishna says, no, he should be considered as a devotee eva in all parts. You should not see his bad qualities at all. He is completely convinced, samvik vyavasita, and he makes a splendid resolution. I will go to hell for my sinful actions, which are hard to give up, but I will not give up the dedicated worship of Krishna. So this is his resolution. So because of his conditionings, and he comes under the condition and commits something sinful, because of the conditionings, Krishna understands that. Internally, because he has come under the influence of his conditionings and he is repenting deeply in his heart, and he's getting purified by that. We might see that he has committed sin, but if we see fault in him and criticize that devotee, we will be committing aparadh. We will be committing aparadh. So we should be very, very careful about it. Which is more grievous, sin or aparadh? It is aparadh. So that's why we should be very, very careful. He is getting purified of that sin, but we, by criticizing that devotee and seeing that he has done this fault, we will be committing a grievous aparadh towards that devotee, and that will become a serious obstacle in our practice of Krishna consciousness. So that's why one should be very, very careful about these things. So again, there is a lot of things to be discussed in this verse, but we will not do that so. But I hope the point is very, very clear here. Okay, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary, very much, Prabhupada wrote this verse commentary based on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary. Sri Krishna says, even those persons who engage in one-pointed, unwavering bhajan of me are badly behaved, still they should be considered saintly because their engagement is righteous in every respect and all beautiful. The meaning of word Sudurachara must be understood properly. The behavior of the conditioned soul is of two types: conditional, sambandhiki, and constitutional, swarupgata. Activities such as keeping clean, performing pious acts, and nourishing or satisfying the needs of body, society, progress of the mind are called sambandhiki, conditional or relative, being related to one's material condition, sabhav, based on sabhav. Bhajan, a fully conscious activity which is performed for me by the jiva in the pure state, is his swarupgata, constitutional function. So there are conditional activities and constitutional activities. Prabhupada uses that term. This function is also called amishra bhakti, literally unmixed devotion or kevala bhakti. In the bound state, the jiva's performance of kevala bhakti has an irrevocable relationship with his conditioned life. Sambandhika behavior will certainly continue as long as one has his body. Even when ananya bhakti appears, only when bhakti appears does the jiva lose his taste for everything that is unfavorable to devotion. One becomes detached from sense enjoyment to the extent that one's taste increases in bhajan of Sri Krishna. Until the taste for sense objects is completely removed, it sometimes forces one to behave improperly, but that taste is very quickly subdued by the taste of devotional service. The behavior of person who is situated in the higher levels of bhakti is all beautiful and righteous. If sometimes accidentally such a person is seen to be engaging not only in bad but ill behavior, performing activities for which a devotee does not have a natural taste, such as killing others, stealing others' wealth, and having illicit relationship with others' wives, he will nonetheless be very quickly purified of such behavior. My bhakti, which is very powerful and purifying, is not polluted by this behavior. This should be understood. A superlative devotee should not be considered degraded because of his past indulgence in activities such as eating fish or having illicit relationships with them. Very, very uh, straightforward commentary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay, so time is up. So I think these four verses will take it up some other time. Or should we finish it? We have 15 verses, 15 more minutes we could take, and yeah, we can finish it. I hope it is okay. We can finish it because within the flow, this is also connected. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteha pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. Very quickly becomes righteous person. Shipram bhavati dharmatma, and he becomes completely devoid of contamination. Shashvat shantim nigacchati. O son of Kunti, Kaunteya, you declare pratijanihi that my devotee never perishes. Name bhakta pranashati. Now, Arjuna says, how can you accept the worship of such a sinful person? How do you eat the food and drink offered by the heart contaminated with lust and anger? So, Krishna replies, very quickly becomes righteous. The present is used and not the future to express the fact that having committed sin, by remembering the Lord, he becomes repentant and thus very quickly becomes righteous. So, he becomes repented having committed that sin. And he becomes quickly Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma. Oh, how unfortunate I am. There is no one as low as I, bringing bad name to the devotees. Repeatedly, Shashvat, he feels completely Nifam Nitaram, disgust, Shantim, for those actions, what he has done. Or the use of the present tense can indicate that in the future he will develop righteousness fully. But even now, it exists in the subtle form. It exists in the subtle form. After taking medicine, though the destructive effects of fever or poison remains for some time, it is not considered serious. Thus, with the entrance of bhakti in his mind, the sinful actions are not taken seriously. And the traces of sin, such as lust and anger, should be considered insignificant, like the biting of a toothless snake. Thus he attains Nigachati, complete cessation of lust and anger, Shantim, permanently, Shashvat. In Nigachati, Ni stands for Nitaram, completely. This means that even during the stage of having tendency to commit sin, he has a pure heart. So all these, are unfathomable what Krishna is saying. Just like Ajamil chanted the name of Narayan when he named his son as Narayan, and he was free from all sin, in fact. Namavas Sarva Papashaya. But he continued to commit sin because of his nature, that's it. But that since what he committed did not have a reaction because Bhakti Devi had already manifested in his heart. Then how is it that he committed sin? It's like, the snake whose poison is taken away and is biting. The snake bite will not have any effect. If he eventually becomes righteous, there would be no agreement. However, if a devotee is sinful right up till his death, what is his position? And this is the case of Ajamil. Right up till death, he was attached to, at the age of 80, he produced a son, and 88, he was on the deathbed, and his son Narayan was just 8 years old. The Lord, affectionate to his devotees, then speaks loudly with a little anger. O son of Kunti, my devotee is not destroyed. At the time of death, he does not fall. Krishna then encourages the worried, lamenting Arjuna. O Kaunteya, go to the swabbling assembly with the tumultuous sound of drums, throwing your hands in the air. You should fearlessly declare this. Declare what? What I should declare? Declare that my devotee, the devotee of Supreme Lord, though committing sin, does not perish but rather reaches success. Arguments defeated, pride deflated, they should undoubtedly respect you as a guru. This is Sridhar Swami's explanation. But why does the Lord order Arjuna to declare this then when he could do it himself? As he will say later, Mam evashasi satyam te pratijane priyosimi. I declare to you that you will truly come to me, you are very dear to me. In the same way, why does he not say now, I declare Kaunteya that my devotee does not wish? The reason is explained here. The Lord considered as follows. Being affectionate to my devotee and not tolerating even a slight degradation of my devotee, I will under all circumstances uphold the declaration made by my devotee, whereas I can break my own promise and accept criticism of myself. Just as in breaking my own promise in fighting with Bhishma, I fulfilled Bhishma's promise. So the Lord can break his promise, but the Lord cannot break his devotee's promise because the Lord is attached to his devotee. He is affectionate to his devotee. So that is Bhaktavatsala. Thus, hearing a declaration from my mouth, the materialist disputers will laugh, but they will accept Arjuna's declaration as if written on stone. Therefore, I will have Arjuna make the declaration. And thus, one should not accept the statements of the falsely intelligent persons who, after hearing about Ananya Bhakti, even of the greatest sinner, think that this declaration made by the pure devotee cannot apply in cases where attachment to wife and children, sinful acts, lamentation, illusion, lust, anger, and other despicable qualities manifest. Okay, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. O son of Kunti, it is my solemn vow that any jiva who falls from the path of exclusive devotion is never lost. In the initial stages, even if he performs sinful activities due to faulty character or has an accidental fall down, still by taking the most powerful medicine in the form of bhakti, his sinful nature will very quickly become dispelled. Such a person will become fixed in the activities of his eternal Sarupa and become free from the bondage of pious and sinful actions. Furthermore, he will attain the supreme peace. Peace, my goodness. Which arises from pure devotion. Okay. So I hope these verses are clear. There are just two more verses. We will complete that. Mam hi partha vyapashrita yepi supapayonaya striyo vaishyastada shudra tepi yanti param gatim. Even those born in sinful situations. Ye papayonaya supi. So papayoni is taken as another category here by Vishnu Thakur. And then he says, such as women, Vaishyas, and Shudras, or even the outcasts, Striyo, Vaishyas, Tata, Shudra, if they surrender to me, Mameva Vapashita, attain me, the supreme goal. Tepi Yanti Param Gatim. So, the essence of this verse is basically purifying potency of bhakti that even the most fallen and degraded can get purified and attain the highest destination. It is so remarkable that my bhakti does not consider the accidental faults arising by actions of my misbehaving devotee. That is mentioned in Apichet Suduracharo. For my bhakti does not even consider the inherent faults of such a person which arise from his very birth. Even those of sinful birth, Papayoniya, outcast or mlechas who surrender to me attain the supreme goal. And then this verse is quoted. Kiratahuna andra pulinda pulkasha abhir shumbaya vanakashadaya ye cha papaya dapashayashaya shuddhanti tasmay prabha vishnave nama. So the Kiratas, Hunas, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkashas, Abhiras, Shumbas, Yavanas, all of these low birth, those are sinful by action, Papa, Yepe Anye Papa. By taking shelter of the devotees who take shelter of the powerful Lord, yad apashya ashya become purified of their prarabdha karma, shuddhanti. And then this famous verse, Aho bat swapacho to garyan, yad jivvagre vartate namatubhyam, te pustapaste jivvahu shasnurarya, brahmanuchur nama grananti ete. How astonishing, Ahobat, the outcasts, on the tip of whose tongue, Yad Jivagre, your name appears, Vartate Namatubhyam, becomes the Guru, Ata Gharyan. All those who chant your name, Te Nama Grahantiye, become most respectful Arya, having completed all austerities, tapas feku, all sacrifices, all bathing, Jivahu Shasnu, and all study of the Vedas, Brahmanuchur. What then to speak of women, Vaishyas, and others who are impure or subject to bad qualities such as lying? In this way, the reason, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, now, in this way, the reason a person who has taken shelter of the holy name of Sri Krishna takes birth in the house of Chandala is to perfect the quality of humility, which is favorable for bhakti. Which is the classic example? Taking a lower birth to perfect the quality of humility, which becomes very favorable to bhakti. Any examples you know, classic examples where somebody took a lower birth so to quality of bhakti so that humility we can perfect? Yes, Navneet Karnamataji.
Narad Muni Prabhuji.
Narad Muni as a son of maid servant. Okay, that's a good example, but there is another classic example. Yes,
Vritrasura.
Vritrasura. Okay, from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, anyone can quote. Namacharya Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was born in a Yovana family, but who is he? He is Brahma himself. And to perfect the quality of humility, which is favorable for bhakti, you know, and to take shelter of the holy name. So it's more favorable. Okay, now having said that, now if bhakti can purify even the most degraded low birth and Triyo Vaishyas Tata Shudra, then what to speak of the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas? Kim punara Brahmana punya bhaktya rajarashayas tata anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvimam. Then what to speak of Kim punar, devotees, bhakta who are pure Brahmanas, Brahmana punya or kings, Rajarashaya, therefore having come to this impermanent world of distress. Imam anityam asukam lokam prapya. Worship me, bhajasva mam. So we have to realize somehow that this material world, there is no pleasure. As long as we have a tinge of desire to enjoy pleasure in this material world, we'll have to stay. And as long as we don't develop complete disgust, we'll not be fully determined to, do our bhajan. Imam prapya bhajasva mam. What then to speak of Brahmanas born in pure families of good conduct who are devotees? Therefore, you should worship me. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Even outcasts are qualified for my exclusive devotion. Their sinful actions due to their low birth are not an obstacle for devotion because when bhakti appears in the heart, then all tendency to perform sinful acts completely disappear. Why then should there be any doubts as to whether pious Brahmanas and devotee kings can quickly achieve freedom from inauspicious results of their pious activities by the performance of devotional actions? Therefore, having come to this temporary and miserable world, engage yourself in continuous bhajan of me. Now, how to perform that bhajan? Bhajasvamam, Krishna speaks this verse, which is also called as the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava madbhakta madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vashyasi yuktvenam atmanam matparayana. Concentrate our mind upon me, on me, manmana. Be my devotee, bhava madbhakto. Worship me, madhyaji. Offer respects to me, mam namaskuru. Having absorbed your body and mind in me. Evam Atmanam Yuktya. Yukta means you are trying to connect to Krishna through mind, offering respects, worship, and all. Surrendering to me, Mat Parayan, you will come to me. Mam Eva Shisa. So this is like the Abhidaya verse. Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojan we have studied, if you remember. So the Abhidaya is given here. In this verse, the Lord concludes by describing the method of worship, Bhajasva. Therefore, having absorbed your body and mind, me, Atmanam Yukta, you will certainly come to me. That supreme position of pure bhakti, the topmost secret, which does not discriminate between who is qualified and unqualified, by its contact, purifies all persons, has been described in this chapter. So the glory of pure bhakti is brought out. Here ends the commentary on the 9th chapter of the Gita for the pleasure of the devotees' minds by the mercy of the Acharyas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Engage your mind in thinking of me, your body in my worship, and remain surrendered to me. Being dedicated to me in this way, even if you engage in warfare, you will definitely attain me. Because that will be Shuddha Bhakti. Okay, so that ends the discussion on the 9th chapter, the most confidential knowledge. So, any questions you have on the last section, which we discussed just now? Any questions, any clarifications? No. So then we will stop here. Tomorrow we are not having a class. Tomorrow we have a seminar in the evening. So that's why tomorrow we'll not have a class. Those who have missed some classes can just catch up on this chapter. And we will begin the 10th chapter from Monday. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.